Okay.
You got it? Okay, roll call.
President Livingston? Trustee Martin?
Still here?
Trustee Pierce? Here. Trustee McManus? Here. Trustee Stillman?
Here.
Trustee Wishaw?
Here.
And Trustee Leonard?
Here. Approval of the minutes from committee as a whole on March 17th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brandon. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on those minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Public comment, provide 2-minute opportunity for citizens to voice their opinions of the committee of the whole. Committee of the whole cannot despise and make conflict with local media requirements. Anybody have anything to add? Committee updates. Ms. Pierce, you can tell us about the planning commission.
Planning Commission will be upcoming. Recently posted on Zoning Hub was the single-family homes that would be a part of the, what I call the S Street development. I had one question on it, and I actually ran into Ryan yesterday, and he answered it. The traffic impact study that was done on the front part also includes this section. So that will be coming before planning on April 21st, or for the next planning meeting.
Thank you, Nancy. Holly, anything on Parks and Rec?
The only thing I want to say is that, for those that live by Gorney, heard what you said, there's 2 of us on the board here, but come to our meetings, we have one park meeting a month, and it's all out of whack. When Ryan was our next one because of the election and the
21st.
21st. So it's usually we usually do the first meeting of the month now, though. But no, it's the
Third.
Second.
Third.
Yeah, we went up with the second meeting.
Yeah.
Third.
So
Third
right
week.
before the second meeting of every village board meeting of the month at 5 o'clock, we have a public, right here in Village Hall. And it's open, and we like to hear suggestions from the public on what they'd like to see in their parks. So,
Thank you. Mr. Wishaw, you fell down the utility district?
Well, sadly, I was in the Shenandoah National Park hiking all of last night, so I missed utility.
Tony, would you like to let us know? I knew you'd fill them out.
I'm not really gonna report on the drainage district meeting, but I am gonna report on the storm that occurred last week from the 2nd to the 4th. Essentially, there are varying reports out there, anywhere from about 2.5 to almost 4.5 inches of rain, depending on where you were, spread over those 3 days. Essentially, we have reviewed the data for our discharges of sanitary sewer to the city of Racine, and I can report that we only had 17 exceedances. And that, and any type of, and let me just back up, any type of exceedance is anything that's over the 80% threshold. So for peak hour, I'm gonna hit those first. Peak hour at Central, which is the main office on 4.5, we had 2 of those, one of them on the 2nd at 93.6%, one of them on the 4th at 81.9%. At Riverbend, which is basically over by the river off of Riverbend Drive, we had 2 peak hour exceedances there as well. One on the 2nd at 91.7%, and then one on the 4th at 93.8%. And then they also track it as an overall village. We only had one of those as an overall village number, and that occurred on the 2nd, and the maximum overage was 88.2%. We ended up having peak day issues on all four of the days, on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Essentially, we were at Central, we were at 84.7 on the 2nd, 84.7 on the 3rd, 83.1 on the 4th, and 83.1 on the 5th. At Riverbend, we were at 86.1. On the 3rd, we were at 93.3. On the 4th and 5th, we were at 95.7. And there's a reason for that jump, and I'll get to that in a minute. Overall, village for peak day, we are at 80.8 on the 2nd, 83.9 on the 3rd, and 84.7 on the 4th and 5th. Now, the reason for the jump in the peak day and kind of some of the issues why the peaks hours were higher on the 4th because for the first time, and hopefully probably won't be the last time, but we did fill the 4.7 million gallon attenuation basin on Highway K. We started diverting at 1:15 p.m. on the 2nd, and the diversion ended because it was full on the 4th at 9:45 a.m. Essentially, we filled 4.7 million gallons in about 44 and a half hours. Now, to kind of break that down just by average numbers, that's 106,000 gallons an hour, or 1,760 gallons a minute. Now, based on some of the data that I saw for the filling rates, it was actually higher than that. It looked like about 120 to 140, 120 to 140,000 gallons an hour. So basically, we were filling at about 2,000 gallons to about 2,333 gallons for that time. So, long story short, that basin came in handy. It saved us from going over into the 90% range until unfortunately it was full. And then once it was full, there was really nothing more that we could do other than just continually pump out of Riverbend. So hence, we did exceed the 95% mark. We did not at all eclipse the 100% mark, so I'm actually very happy with that.
Based on how much rain we had, that's really very good.
I actually think so myself, because the first set of rainfall actually, significantly saturated the ground and it just had no place to go.
So how are we doing in pumping it back down?
We emptied it last. The last of it was drained out about midnight last night. So we are ready for more if it happens.
We don't need more rain.
So Holly, does that mean we didn't hit 100%? Does that mean we didn't have any outflow into the lake, of raw sewage into the lake?
That's a whole different animal. So we did not have any SSOs, which is a sewers, sanitary sewer overflow. The exceedances that we are having is in regards to contractual numbers for pumping capabilities to the city of Racine. So we have an actual flow rate that we can pump down there,
I get it.
and then it's an 80, 90, 95% trigger,
I
and
get
then
it.
100% capacity. We stayed under the 100%, which is great, but we did get the 80% trigger. So in, I would say, probably 4 to 6 weeks, you can expect a nasty gram from Racine wastewater.
Again,
Plus and everybody else.
thank you, Tony.
More than likely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Martin, visit Racine County, do you have anything to talk?
No, because I was campaigning and I missed that meeting, so. I have nothing to report.
All right, thank you. I don't have anything to add. New business, discussion on Village Hall Community Center function. I think that was your idea, Fran, was that correct?
It was, someone was here when Todd was having the community, sort of open house for communities. And there was older woman that came in and said that whereas the old Village Hall used to allow the seniors, citizens to have card games, during the day, and now there isn't any place for that. Well, there's the old Franksville thing, but that building is really not in good shape, I think. And so Todd had suggested that we put that on the committee as a whole, and that's why I brought it up. Since then, that particular person has been in ill health, so I haven't any further communication. I actually think it's not a bad idea. I'm not quite sure exactly what the parameters would be, or who would be allowed to use it, but we do have this open space, which isn't in use most of the time, I think. Am I right, Todd? Except for board meetings? I mean, what's your feeling about that?
It's, the boardroom is not used most of the time outside of the meetings. I have a template that I've used in a previous community when this issue was brought up. I'd be happy to bring something in a similar fashion to you for you to review. Since having a conversation with that young lady, I've had another young lady, her name's Anna, Girl Scout, looking for a place to have kind of like a food pantry or some level of that. Now, I don't know how that works, but I guess what would need to be decided from the village board is where do you draw the line, and what are you willing to sure as Attorney Pruitt here will explain after I'm done talking, that kind of once you open the door on one thing, you're opening the door onto maybe a host of things that you did not truly intend to. So, I'm happy to request a copy of the previous one that I had worked on, and that ultimately did not pass because the village board in that community couldn't come to terms with what they wanted, where they wanted to draw the line, and it just kind of, didn't go anywhere. But I'm happy to request it. I can modify it in a fashion that makes sense to Caledonia, and then bring it forward, and we can continue the conversation, and we can go from there. Did you have anything?
Okay, I mean, my recommendation is that we do that. I get that the easiest thing is to say no. It's just easier to say no because it's easy and you don't have to worry about it. But this is a community space, this school, everybody paid for it, and it's available a lot of the time. And it may well be that we can draw some parameters. So I would like to at least suggest that Todd show us that template, so that we have some sense of who might or might not use it.
Todd, it's a good idea. Was there a cleaning fee involved in?
I think what became the ultimate problem was there was kind of like three options, and then they would segment between if you were a member of the public, if you lived in the community, if you were a nonprofit, how did the fees get waived, or if there was a fee. And I think in that community, that's really where it kind of started to turn against what we had produced as an option. It didn't go anywhere, and I'm happy to produce that version by itself versus what staff comes up with as far as, because, I don't think we're looking at collecting a fee, and I guess it would just kind of come from the committee as a whole. Where do you want the line drawn? And then that comes from legal as to, are we actually able to draw that line? If that's decided, and then kind of just keep going back and forth. It's not something that we're going to more than likely solve over one meeting, but it can be a back and forth, and we can get feedback and direction from the committee, and then take it from there and continue bringing it back until we decide whether we're going to keep moving forward or not.
So
So
my thought might be just on the simple thing, obviously, right now it has to be during the times that the bell hall is open. Because you're gonna have janitorial and then staff to close the building after those hours. So that's kind of a simple early piece, maybe that rolls to the top and then whatever else comes down the pipe.
Right, and I would think limiting to residents certainly makes sense. It's not a wedding video, so, we could make a little side hustle. Poker games.
No gambling,
Sorry, yes, one quick comment, I've been involved in a couple of different organizations that, just as an FYI, that use the County Ice Grove Auditorium. They have no idea what the rules are, they've never presented those to me, so learn a little loosey-goosey, there's no fee, we always make sure we put it in better shape than it was in when we get there, when we're done. They're always after hours, and our meetings are usually 6 or 7 o'clock. You might want to contact the county and see how they're doing it, but like I said, it's pretty loosey-goosey there. But that is used, I assume, just nonprofits. I don't think they would allow for-profit there. I really don't know though, because they've never presented the rules to me. So,
thank you, Mr. Chief. Okay, so we want Todd to look into that. Okay. Todd, thank you for volunteering.
No problem.
No problem.
Do you want them to make a
Historical
motion on
pin analysis. I don't remember who brought this up.
Should they make a motion on it?
My suggestion about this anyway
Yeah.
is going to be that we table or adjourn this until, because I think it came up in the context of who was saying what about this?
Oh, you want to table this?
Yes, until the next meeting.
We can do that. Make a motion to table?
That's my motion.
You want me to motion to table?
Yeah, I don't think table is the right term, I think it's.
Lay over.
Lay it over till the next-
Lay it over, I can never remember.
Until the, what, 21st?
Yeah, correct,
21st, is that right?
yes.
We have a motion to table to the 21st. I have a second on that.
I'll second.
And can we have a quick vote? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any no's? All right, thank you. Thank you, Fran. Items to be placed on future agenda meeting agendas. Ali, you had something you want to talk about?
I do, not to talk, just discuss it. I would like a discussion and review on trustee code of conduct and developing a social media policy for, well, village as well.
Okay.
Are you talking about official or personal?
What do you mean?
I mean, we do speak as trustees, I mean, we may be doing that, but we might also be speaking outside of that.
There's a Supreme Court case, Polly, that is very clear that elected officials and.
We can't be discussing this.
Too, do not misrepresent.
This isn't an
speech
actual
unless they're
discussion.
speaking officially. Okay.
This isn't up for discussion.
That's why I wanted to talk about it. So
That's what I-
But I'm saying.
She wants to put it on a future agenda to
Okay.
discuss.
We just need to be mindful of that.
Thank you. So,
I have a suggestion, are we done?
that's all right.
I just have another suggestion
For another item.
for another item.
Oh, hold on a minute, then we're not done with this one yet.
Okay,
So you're making a motion to put that on a future agenda, you're saying, Ally?
Yes, if it needs a motion, yeah.
It does not.
It does not.
It does not,
No.
no, we'll just go ahead and put it on a future.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ally.
Thank you.
Fran, did you have something?
yeah, and it relates to what we just heard earlier by people coming up to speak, because I have had some concerns, additional concerns about the shooting range. And I think there is more information that we did not know. So my suggestion is that we revisit that, having in mind full information from the people who live there and whatever historical records there are and whatever we know about that. Because I have had concerns and really been sort of rethinking my vote on that. Because we didn't notify the people in surrounding areas, and I really think that was wrong, and I regret
They
that.
were notified.
Not they were not.
Well,
I asked that-
we're just getting to the public hearing, so.
Can't talk about this.
I know, but they weren't notified before the vote, I asked that question,
Okay,
and anyway, that's my concern.
all right. Thank you.
And I have one.
Yes, Nancy?
I think you may have, I think I saw an email from you today about the count structure. But I would like to put on the future one talking about count structure and how it works. Because from what some of, just leave it there.
Okay, that's
I can't
for,
talk about it.
that's for 2 weeks now.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
On the what structure?
Then maybe the whole structure.
Something else. Fran, you had brought up concerns about, well, you, Fran and Nancy brought up concerns about the water tower and the Adams Road issue.
Oh,
Is that something that's been addressed?
I don't know, I sent a note to Todd, I didn't get that.
So, well, what I'm asking is if those need to go on our agenda to speak about the Adams Road the landscaping issues in the TID and then, and the water.
I don't know.
I mean, we can certainly discuss it at a future meeting if you want.
Right, I mean, sure, let's put it on the agenda, so that, you know, when
Maybe not the water.
I was, the water tower hasn't been worked on for, I believe, Nancy knows that, 'cause she lives right near there, for quite some time. And also the people at the end of Adams Road across from what's part of TID 4 have let me know that their understanding when this was being planned is that there would be a much taller berm and that there would be landscaping on it and that there would be lighting restrictions. And what they had told me is that the lighting goes directly into their home and that the berm is lower than it should be. And there certainly are no trees on it.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. I know I go over.
No, well, that's news to me, let's talk about it. Because I
Probably
didn't,
good enough.
I didn't hear that. Put it on the agenda. Okay, anything else? Thank you, everybody. Continuing business, 7A, discussion on potential revisions to Title 14, Chapter 3. I'm just going to go ahead and make a motion to lay this over to our next meeting.
Thank you. I'll second.
I didn't hear the second.
Any discussion?
Who seconded? Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Lay it over. Very adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
I didn't have to.
Well, for everybody out there, so that you know, we can't get sworn